The Vazir had conquered 100 species before humanity. Some had been strong, others cunning, but all had shared one fatal flaw: biological predictability. Every species had weak points coded into their DNA. Immune deficiencies, exploitable neurological triggers, or fatal responses to engineered pathogens. The Vazir had assumed humanity would be no different. They were wrong. Inside the sterile walls of the Vazir research vessel Zerithis, a team of alien scientists meticulously analyzed the genetic structure of their latest captives. Massive, insectoid beings with iridescent chitin moved between glowing data consoles, their mandibles clicking in calculated rhythms. Lead xenobiologist Kerzel hovered over a display of human DNA sequences, mandibles twitching in frustration. The results defied expectation. Instead of clear vulnerabilities, the data was erratic, chaotic, even. "This cannot be right," Kerzel muttered, adjusting the hollow screen with a sharp claw. Their bodies repair damage at an inconsistent rate. Their immune systems learn. Their neurological patterns shift unpredictably under stress. "They evolved too quickly," another scientist hissed. Kerzel chittered in agitation. "Unacceptable. There must be something." He turned toward the containment cells, where the test subjects awaited. "Increase the stress stimuli. We will find the flaw." The humans, behind the reinforced energy barriers, stood 4 prisoners, each unique in their defiance. Captain Jonas Reddick paced with calculated ease, his muscular frame showing no signs of distress. His short-cropped brown hair and scarred jaw gave him the air of a man who had seen too many battles but wasn't tired of fighting. He smirked at the nearest Vazir scientist, lifting a hand in a mock wave. "You keep staring like that, and I'll start thinking you have a crush on me." Beside him, Dr. Camille Okoye barely glanced up from the alien device she had disassembled with nothing but a hairpin and an alarming amount of curiosity. "Jonas, please. Some of us are trying to reverse engineer our captor's technology." Her dark eyes gleamed with intellect, framed by tight coils of black hair. Across the cell, Eddie Ace, Navarro balanced on one foot, attempting to catch an invisible object between his fingers. "Did anyone else notice how none of them blink?" he mused. "It's unsettling." "You know what else is unsettling?" Mia Song, the 4th and final member of their group, leaned against the cell's far wall, arms crossed. "The fact that they still don't get how screwed they are." Reddick arched a brow. "Oh, do tell." Mia pushed off the wall, gesturing toward the Vazir scientists. "They're trying to find our biological weaknesses." She grinned. "But they're only going to find out we don't have any." Eddie snorted. "We definitely have weaknesses." "Sure," Mia conceded. "But they're looking for things like prone to fatal neuro shutdown when panicked. Instead, they're going to learn we panic, adapt, and then set things on fire." A low hum filled the chamber as the Vazir activated a new series of tests. The experiment. The first wave was physical. Gravitational shifts, rapid temperature fluctuations, and simulated oxygen deprivation, all designed to trigger biological distress. Captain Reddick barely flinched. His military training had conditioned him for worse. Eddie and Mia gritted their teeth, but neither collapsed. Dr. Okoye, however, had a different response. She laughed. Kerzel observed, confused. "The scientist finds this amusing?" Camille Okoye, still gasping to the fluctuating gravity shifts, managed, "You think this is bad? Try New York City in August." The aliens exchanged uncertain glances. The second wave was neurological. Flashing lights, discordant sounds, subliminal psychic signals meant to disorient and induce terror. Eddie winced, shaking his head. "They're trying to scramble our brains." "Joke's on them. Mine's been scrambled since birth." Mia, blinking against the strobing lights, muttered, "And yet, somehow, you still fly ships for a living." Jonas clenched his jaw against the psychic pressure, but refused to yield. Camille, now seated with arms crossed, seemed bored. "Are you done?" she called out to the aliens. "Because I'd really love a turn." The third wave was biochemical. Vazir-designed nanites flooded the air, designed to weaken immune responses and exploit genetic frailties. They had worked flawlessly on other species. On humans? Jonas sneezed. Mia coughed. Eddie scratched his nose. Then nothing. KRZL's mandibles twitched in confusion. The nanite should have begun shutting them down. Instead, the humans were metabolizing them at an unnatural rate. The genetic readings spiked erratically, immune systems adapting mid-exposure. Sir, a junior scientist whispered. Their bodies are fighting back. KRZL hissed. Impossible. Inside the cell, Dr. Okoye grinned at the sudden panic in their captor's posture. Told you, she murmured. You're not studying a weakness. You're witnessing an arms race. The Wazir halted the experiment. For the first time in their history, they had found a species that did not fit the model. The humans were too chaotic, too unpredictable. They did not break. They adapted. Their greatest weakness should have been their unstable biology, but instead, it was their greatest weapon. KRZL's claws twitched as he considered the implications. If humans could adapt in real time, then what would happen if they turned that adaptation against the Wazir? And worse, what if they had already started? Inside the containment cell, Jonas turned to his team. Well, he said, cracking his knuckles, I think we just scared the hell out of them. Eddie grinned. Neat. So, how do we really freak them out? Camille tossed him a modified alien scanner she had quietly repurposed. By showing them just how much of their tech we've already stolen. Mia smirked. Let's break out of here, shall we? The Wazir research vessel's Arithis was built to dissect the weaknesses of lesser species. Every corridor was pristine, every system optimized for precision. It was a fortress of cold logic, where biological inferiority was a mathematical certainty. It had never been breached from the inside. That was about to change. The plan comes together. Inside the containment cell, Dr. Camille Okoye finished reconfiguring the alien scanner she had stolen. The device, originally designed to map human physiology, now pulsed with new purpose. She tossed it to Jonas Reddick, who caught it with practiced ease. So, he said, inspecting the repurposed tech, this'll get us through their security? In theory, Camille admitted, I reversed the scanning function. Instead of analyzing our weaknesses, it now tricks their systems into thinking we're Wazir. Eddie Navarro whistled. Neat. So we're what? Hackers now. Mia Song smirked. Nah, just better engineers. Jonas rolled his shoulders, feeling the weight of the moment settle in. They had one shot at this. All right, Eddie, you take point. Mia, back him up. Camille, stick close to me. We move fast and quiet. Eddie grinned. Fast, I can do. Quiet, try. Jonas muttered, stepping toward the cell door. He pressed the repurposed scanner to the control panel. For a long, breathless second, nothing happened. Then, the door slid open with a soft hiss. Jonas smirked. Showtime. Breaking the unbreakable. The hallway beyond was dimly lit, the air thick with a sterile scent of antiseptic. The Wazir rarely patrolled this sector. After all, no prisoner had ever escaped before. Jonas took point, his movements precise. Behind him, Camille clutched a modified scanner, keeping an eye on the shifting energy fields. Mia paused beside an alien console, fingers itching to dismantle it. I could disable their internal sensors, she whispered. No time, Jonas replied. We keep moving. A door ahead slid open, revealing a towering Wazir guard. For a single heartbeat, the alien hesitated, 6 luminous eyes narrowing in confusion. Humans weren't supposed to be here. Jonas moved first. Before the alien could react, he slammed his fist into the soft tissue below its mandibles. The Wazir let out a strangled screech, but Jonas was already moving, twisting the alien's own weight against it. With a sharp pivot, he sent the towering creature crashing to the ground. Eddie crouched beside the fallen guard, grinning. See? That's how you make first contact. Camille rolled her eyes. We are so getting executed. Not if we keep moving, Jonas muttered, grabbing the guard's weapon. Let's go. The science of adaptation. As they moved deeper into the ship, Camille studied the alien readouts flashing across the scanner. What she saw made her blood run cold. The experiments weren't just on us, she whispered. Jonas slowed. What do you mean? They've been analyzing human DNA on a massive scale, she continued, scrolling through the data. They weren't looking for just one weakness. They were trying to map all of us. Eddie frowned. Okay, and Mia's expression darkened. And if they cracked the code, they could develop something to target every human, everywhere. Jonas exhaled sharply. So we destroy their research. Camille hesitated. Jonas, their research isn't just data. It's built into their technology now. Their scanners, their weapons, hell, even their medical systems are tuned to human biology. Eddie grinned. So, if we hijack it, we don't just erase their research, Mia finished. We turn it against them. Jonas nodded. Then that's the new plan. The wild card move. The team reached the core research chamber, a massive, circular room lined with glowing containment pods. Within each pod, human DNA sequences pulse like ghostly blue strands of light. At the center, a single console controlled the entire system. Eddie cracked his knuckles. Time for some creative sabotage. Camille stepped in front of him. No, this requires precision. Sure, Eddie said, pushing past her. And a little bit of chaos. Before she could stop him, he yanked the largest energy conduit from the console. Sparks erupted, alarms blaring instantly. Camille gaped. Are you serious? Eddie shrugged. What? You were thinking it. I just did it faster. The ship trembled as the system overload cascaded through the network. Jonas turned to Mia. Can you hijack the broadcast system? Mia was already working. Give me 30 seconds. They didn't have 30 seconds. The doors burst open, a squad of Azir soldiers pouring in, weapons raised. Jonas fired first. The stolen alien rifle kicked back harder than expected, but his shot was dead on, striking the lead soldier square in the thorax. Eddie hooped, ducking behind a console. Now this is a proper jailbreak. Camille and Mia scrambled to finish the hack, while Jonas and Eddie laid down cover fire. Mia gritted her teeth. Almost there. A searing energy blast struck the console beside her, sending shards of molten metal flying. Jonas lunged, shielding her from the explosion. Then, the screens flickered. The containment pods went dark. The alarm cut off mid-blare. Mia exhaled. Got it. The entire Vazir research database had just been broadcast across their own fleet. Every ship, every outpost, every soldier. Instead of humanity's weaknesses, the data now revealed something far more dangerous. Humanity's strengths. The moment they realized they'd lost. The Vazir commander's voice crackled over the intercom. Thick with disbelief. Impossible. No species adapts this quickly. Jonas smirked, leveling his weapon. Then you should have picked a different fight. The ship shuddered violently as backup systems failed. Eddie, still grinning, clapped me on the shoulder. So, how do we leave before this thing explodes? Camille scanned the room, eyes locking onto emergency escape route. There. Jonas didn't hesitate. Move! As they sprinted toward the exit, a final transmission echoed to the failing intercom. The Vazir commander, shaken, muttered, They weren't anomalies. They were weapons. The Vazir had never considered the possibility of losing. Their conquest of the galaxy had been methodical, efficient, and absolute. Every species they encountered had a fatal flaw, a biological weakness waiting to be exploited. But humans? Humans had broken every rule in their book. Inside the captured research vessels of Rythis, the impossible was happening. For human prisoners had not only survived the experiments meant to expose their weaknesses, but had begun using the Vazir's own technology against them. And now, as alarms blared through the sterile corridors and automated defenses failed to contain them, the true nightmare for the Vazir had begun. Humanity wasn't just resisting. It was adapting. The plan that shouldn't have worked. Captain Jonas Reddick didn't like complicated plans. Complicated plans were full of things that could go wrong. That's why, as he and his team crouched behind a bulkhead in the bowels of the Zerithis, he kept it simple. Step 1, get out of the lab. Check. Step 2, hijack an alien ship. Work in progress. Step 3, take the fight to the entire damn Vazir fleet. Pending. Dr. Camille, Okoye adjusted her stolen wrist interface, her fingers flying across the alien controls. "I've got access to the primary security grid," she whispered. "If I can reroute the internal defenses, we can clear a path to the hangar." Eddie Ace, Navarro peered around the corner at a trio of heavily armed Vazir guards. Or, crazy thought, I can run out there, make a lot of noise, and you three can sneak past while they're trying to kill me. Mia-san gave him a flat look. "You want to be bait?" "One is a strong word," Eddie admitted, cracking his knuckles. "Let's say I'm suited for it." Jonas exhaled. "Camille, how much control do you have?" "Limited. I can disable a few things, but their command AI keeps countering me." Mia unslung the alien rifle she had stolen earlier. "Then we do this the old-fashioned way." Jonas grinned. "Good. I hate fancy plans." With practice efficiency, they moved. Camille flicked the lights in the corridor to full strobe intensity, momentarily blinding the Vazir. Jonas surged forward, striking the nearest guard with a brutal elbow to the head, while Mia took out another with a well-placed energy blast. Eddie, true to form, opted for chaos, grabbing an alien weapon, flipping it upside down, and somehow making it fire in reverse, taking out the last enemy. The hallway fell silent. Eddie twirled the gun. "I meant to do that." Jonas clapped him on the shoulder. "Sure you did, Ace." Camille pointed down the corridor. "We need to move. I gotta look at their fleet logs before they lock me out. This ship isn't just studying us. It's transmitting data back to every Vazir command center in the galaxy." Mia frowned. "Then we have to shut it down." Jonas nodded. "And we're gonna make sure they regret ever running those damn tests." The science of war. They reached the main data hub, a vast chamber filled with holographic projections of human DNA sequences. The Vazir had been analyzing, cataloging, and, if Jonas had to guess, frantically trying to explain why their experiments had failed. Camille's eyes scanned the readouts, and a slow smile spread across her face. "Oh, this is fantastic." Jonas crossed his arms. "Please tell me that means something good." She tapped the screen. "The Vazir don't understand us because they've never encountered anything like us. They assumed we'd have predictable limits. But this data proves that under stress, we don't weaken, we improve. Faster reflexes, heightened problem solving, increased pain tolerance. They tried to break us, but all they did was speed up the natural arms race happening inside our own bodies." Mia whistled. "They ran a science experiment on why humans win wars and accidentally made us better at it." Jonas smirked. "I love irony." Camille's fingers danced over the console. "If we can broadcast this data back to Earth, we could give humanity a massive advantage. Think about it. Training programs designed to force adaptive evolution, medical treatments that trigger these responses before battle. The Vazir thought they were mapping our weaknesses, but they were handing us the blueprint for becoming unstoppable." Eddie raised a hand. "Love this for us. But slight issue. How do we send this data without getting blown up first?" Jonas grinned. "We hijack their transmission systems and let them do the work for us." Camille's eyes widened. "You want to use their own fleet to send a message?" "Exactly." He looked at Mia. "Can you rig up a delay trigger on their comm system?" Mia cracked her knuckles. "You had me a hijack." The turning point. The plan came together with a reckless kind of efficiency. Mia hardwired the data burst into Vazir's primary communication array, while Camille fought off the ship's security AI. Jonas and Eddie held the line, fending off wave after wave of alien reinforcements. As the last of the code uploaded, Camille slammed a fist against the console. "Done!" The ship's lights flickered. Across the Vazir fleet, encrypted human DNA sequences were now everywhere, flooding their networks with irrefutable proof. Humans don't break. They evolve. Jonas turned to the others. "Time to go." Mia pulled up a schematic of the hangar. "One last problem. We need a ship, and they're sending everything to stop us." Eddie grinned, already moving. "Then let's make everything look very stupid." The moment the data burst transmitted, the entire Zerithus shook with fury. Across the Vazir fleet, alarms blared as their own systems were flooded with humanity's biological data. Data that didn't reveal weakness but strength. The Vazir had sought to dissect their captives, only to inadvertently hand them the blueprint for becoming stronger. Now, Jonas and his team had to make sure they lived long enough to use it. Escape Plan Omega, also known as Run Like Hell. The corridor leading to the hangar was in chaos. Vazir warriors scrambled to contain the breach, their insectoid frames clicking with tension as they skittered into formation. Jonas counted at least a dozen heavily armored guards between them, and they're right out of here. He turned to Mia. Please tell me you have something explosive. Mia, already pulling an alien grenade off a fallen guard, grinned. Do you want precision or pure mayhem? Eddie clapped a hand on her shoulder. Mia, we just made an entire galactic empire question their own science. I think we deserve mayhem. She tossed a grenade down the hall. The resulting detonation sent shock waves through the chamber, rupturing energy conduits and turning careful Vazir formations into panic scrambles. Jonas took the opening. Move! The team sprinted into the smoke, weaving through disoriented enemies. Camille had her stolen interface linked to the hangar bay doors, fighting against the ship's AI as it desperately tried to lock them inside. Almost there, just keep them off me. Jonas grabbed an enemy rifle, dropping a Vazir warrior mid-lunge. Eddie, somehow both reckless and untouchable, rolled across the floor, snatching an abandoned weapon and firing wildly. The shots ricocheted, hitting everything except his teammates. Mia tackled a guard into a console, using his own extra limbs against him. Ugh! Why do they have so many arms? It's like fighting an entire drum set. Less complaining, more escaping. Jonas barked. Camille let out a triumphant laugh. Got it. The massive hangar bay doors groaned open, revealing their salvation. A sleek Vazir strike craft, its systems already primed for launch. Jonas didn't hesitate. Everyone in. Flight of the insane. The team barely had time to strap in before Jonas gunned the thrusters, sending the stolen ship rocketing out of the hangar. Immediately, the rest of the Vazir fleet reacted. Fighters swarmed like a hive disturbed, moving in sharp, insect-like formations to intercept. Plasma fire streaked through space, cutting too close for comfort. Eddie hooped, already in the co-pilot seat. This is way more fun than being experimented on. Camille, furiously scanning the ship's systems, muttered, That depends entirely on whether we survive. Mia, monitoring the weapons, clicked her tongue. Bad news, we barely have shields, and our weapons are laughably weak. Jonas smirked. Good news, they don't know how humans fly. With that, he yanked the controls, sending the ship into a reckless spin that no Vazir pilot would have dared attempt. He cut the thrusters for a split second, allowing one pursuing fighter to overshoot, then gunned them again, watching with satisfaction as it careened into another enemy. Eddie pointed at the display. Hey, more bad news. Looks like they're scrambling a battleship. A massive warship loomed in the distance, its energy cannons charging. One direct hit, and they'd be space debris. Camille's eyes widened. We need a way out. Now! Mia suddenly grinned. Oh, I have a terrible idea. Jonas kept dodging enemy fire. I'm listening. She pulled up a schematic of the fleet. The battleship's energy core? It's right in the middle of their formation. If we overload our ship's reactor and eject it right before impact, Camille caught on instantly. It'll trigger a cascading reaction. Eddie nodded enthusiastically. Boom, baby. Jonas exhaled. Okay, let's do something insanely stupid. When in doubt, make explode. With Camille's expert hands, the reactor was primed for a controlled overload. The ship's alarm screamed as it reached critical energy levels. Jonas pushed the engines to their limit, hurtling toward the Vazir battleship. Pursuing fighters hesitated, uncertain whether to follow. As they closed in, Mia set the countdown. Ejecting reactor in 3, 2, 1. The ship jerked as the reactor detached, a glowing sphere of volatile energy drifting toward the warship. Jonas didn't stick around to admire their work. Punching it, they veered away at full throttle. Seconds later, a white-hot detonation erupted behind them. The battleship went up in a blinding explosion, the shockwave cascading through the surrounding fleet. Smaller ships lost control, colliding into each other in a symphony of destruction. Eddie turned in his seat. Did we just... Mia grinned. Yep. Jonas let out a breath as the comms crackled. A new voice. Human. Unidentified vessel. This is the ISS Valiant. We picked up your transmission and the fireworks. Care to introduce yourselves? Jonas grinned, flipping the comm switch. This is Captain Jonas Reddick and crew, recently escaped from a really bad science experiment. Hope you don't mind us crashing the party. Laughter came over the line. Well, Captain Reddick, you just started the biggest Mestivazir I've seen in a century. Welcome to the Resistance. Jonas exchanged a look with his team. They weren't just survivors anymore. They were the beginning of something bigger. He smirked. Let's go in a war.